I often hear it repeated that the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are anonymous documents, and the argumentation I hear for this is often very weak. People, they ask questions, really, oftentimes. They say, why would they write these documents so late? Well, the late dating of these documents is contested itself. But that being said, there's a reason more scholars of the New Testament are getting on board with traditional authorship, meaning more scholars are starting to believe that these documents were truly written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And the historical method is the way that they are reaching this conclusion. When you apply the historical method to the authorship, there's actually more evidence that the authors are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John for these 4 documents than there is for most any document throughout antiquity. So I'm going to get into some of this information, but if you want a great video series that cites many sources and scholarship articles on it, you can see Inspiring Philosophies 4-part video series on the authorship of the Gospels. So some clear indicators that we have the authentic authorship written in the 1st century by the eyewitness community. First of all is the names. The names in these documents fits with popular names in the 1st century. Second of all, Matthew, you've got internal evidence that Matthew, the tax collector, wrote Matthew for the fact that he is more specific when it comes to monetary systems and money, different teachings from Jesus that involve money. He was more interested in that. In Mark, you've got internal evidence that it is an interpreter of Peter, as the unanimous attestation is from early sources that Mark wrote his account, and that is an account of Peter, who he was traveling with, because there's more specifics surrounding the life of Peter. There's also internal evidence in the 1st chapter of Luke, in the very 1st paragraph, where he's writing his gospel to a specific person, Theophilus. Theophilus would have known who was writing to him. Luke also records more medical miracles. He was a physician, so he would have been more interested in medical miracles and healings of Jesus. Now, that being said, when it comes to the authorship externally, we've got unanimous attestation from early sources, every single church father saying that these are the accounts of the apostles. We've got quotations from early sources such as Clement of Rome in the very 1st century quoting Matthew. And we've got unanimous attestation on manuscripts. When there is a title in a manuscript, Luke is always on Luke, Mark is always on Mark, Matthew is always on Matthew, and John is always on John. So there's a lot more that goes into this, folks. There's a lot more internal and external evidence. That being said, if the accounts in these Gospels are true, then we've got a God that actually loves us, who gave his life for us, proved his love for us, and we can trust him. We can trust that Jesus Christ is the Savior of the world, and we can put our life in his hands. I hope that you'll reach out to him in prayer. Stay blessed, y'all. God loves us.